Let me ask you a question. What makes more sense to you? To spend thousands of dollars on expensive lenses and still feel frustrated with your results? Or to spend a couple $100, be able to get closer to your subjects, observe them in a more natural way, and come home with photos that you're proud of every single time you go out? Hi, I'm pro photographer Don Orkoskey of WDO Photography, and I want to talk to you about the value of camouflage when it comes to bird and other wildlife photography. For the past 2 decades, I've worked as a professional photographer, mostly photographing events and portraits, as well as teaching photography. But for fun, I've always enjoyed coming out into nature. And during that time, I've also not really thought too much about wearing camouflage. To be honest, I thought it was something that was for hunting, not necessarily for photography. Then the pandemic happened. The amount of time I was spending in nature picked up. Now it's a big part of what I do. Since I began wearing camouflage, I've gotten to get closer to my subjects, and they've come closer to me. They seem more relaxed, and I can capture them in a more natural setting, which is incredible. All it took was a couple $100 worth of the right camouflage. Because wildlife subjects have such great senses, you have to be very careful, and you want to blend in more than just visually. Animals have a great sense of smell. They will be able to sense your movement on the ground. So that's why it's important to have the right camouflage. And what is the right camouflage? Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. There are 3 things to look for when it comes to getting the right camouflage. The first of those is that the color and pattern are going to help you blend in. It's important to break up your form, but you also want to match, because there's a lot of animals out there who are able to see color, who are able to detect pattern. And if you've broken up your form, but it's all just one big thing that matches, then they're still going to be aware. So you want that pattern to match, you want that color to match. You want to wear white camouflage if it's snowing outside, for example. If you're going to a pine forest to photograph, you probably want to make sure that your camouflage shows that pine and not a bunch of deciduous trees in it. So one thing to consider is military camouflage versus hunting camouflage. Military camouflage is really designed to help keep people from seeing people. So that's why you see the modern camouflage is pixelated. We have modern optics in wartime that are looking for things digitally, so that pixelization really helps. And they've actually found that it works on human brains really well. Animals, I'm not so certain. That's why hunting camouflage is probably the way to go. Number 2 on my list of things to look for when it comes to choosing the right camouflage is sound. Some camouflage is very noisy, and that again is going to set off your subjects. So if you want them to be relaxed, you want them to be comfortable, then it's important to have something that is not going to make a bunch of noise when you come into an area. 2, something that's not going to make a bunch of noise when it's moving around when you're trying to adjust and take their pictures. You're more likely to scare them off that way. Which brings me to another important point, which is that it makes a lot more sense in nature and wildlife photography to find a place and stay there for a while. Sure, it's fun to go out on a hike and just walk around and see what you can see, but if you're not spending time standing still, waiting for the animals to come to the spot that you think that they're going to be in, or maybe that you've already seen them in, then you're going to miss out on opportunities. If you've settled there, then they're more likely, if they have noticed you, to come back after a few minutes instead of being scared and staying away the whole time that you're there. The final thing to think about when it comes to getting the right camouflage is your own comfort. It just makes sense to wear something that you feel good in, right? So you want to make sure that it's not something that's going to be too hot or too cold, or something that's itchy or too bulky, or whatever it is that's going to cut your day short and make you have to turn around and go home before you're ready to. The more time you can spend actually taking pictures and not worrying about what you're wearing, or is it too noisy, or whatever the issue is, the more success you're going to have, because you're going to be able to concentrate on what you're doing. So, in conclusion, the 3 things you want to look for are color and pattern, sound, and your comfort. I really hope that this helped you to see the value of camouflage and how it can help save you thousands of dollars on expensive lenses. Don't get me wrong, I love big, huge telephoto lenses. This one right here is a 150 to 600 Sigma, and I love it. But if you can spend a fraction of that and get closer to your subjects and get better shots and feel less frustrated, feel more confident, then it's worth it, right? So if you enjoyed this video, please like it. I'd love if you would subscribe as well. I know there's not a lot of content on here right now, but I'm working on that, and I'd love for you to see my videos in the future. So if you hit that bell, then you'll get them when they show up. Thanks so much for watching.